just very happy, very blessed. So I wanted to come on really quick because I'm working on this piece. It's a very vulnerable piece, right? And if you guys been following me for a while, you know I don't typically care to really indulge or really delve into my personal life. Reason being is because I don't know, I just think that it's just not for everybody, right? Like certain things you go through in life. Yeah, I know you want to be like motivational and all the things, but I just don't think it's for everybody, right? I think that, when you share personal things on the internet, it's up for digs, right? And for whatever reason, you know, I don't know if people are online are young or, if they're just lacking in social etiquette. I don't know, right? It's just, it is what it is. But I think people kind of have a tendency to be like, you share something very vulnerable and people are like, oh, you're projecting. And it's like, I'm just sharing my experience, you know? So it's just a lot of ignorance, really. And I just don't really care to deal. But anyway, I wanted to come on today because I just finished reading this amazing piece about Black women in beauty on Medium, and I am a little congested, so just bear with me if the audio is not that great. But so there's a writer, her name is Black Thelma, and Thelma, I'm sorry, and she just spoke about the situation with like Ti and Tiny, and I guess 50 Cent calling Tiny ugly and all these different things. She just really spoke about Black women and all the things that Black women are doing to feel beautiful, right? Now, I touched on this a little bit on my podcast. Like, we spoke about this kind of briefly. We spoke about how Black women were gaining access to white women's beauty standards, right? They were gaining access to, some of the routines and the cosmetic enhancements and surgeries and all the different things, right? That of white women. And I think because of that, more and more women were feeling more and more beautiful, right? Not because of genuine confidence, right? But just merely because they were now gaining access to that of, white women, in which we know white women have always been considered beautiful, right? And so, as the world is shifting, as people are integrating, as conversations about race relations, history, right, all these different things really start to take a back seat to our desires to integrate, which I think is a very beautiful thing, right? Reality and desirability and all these things are really like shifting today, right? And so I guess I wanted to come on today and really just like encourage any young Black girl out there, right? um, you know Beauty is one of those things to where, and I'll say this, right, because from my own personal experience, um, I did feel overlooked. I've had those experiences. I've had experiences where just early on I realized like my hair wasn't long enough, my chest wasn't big enough, my butt wasn't big, like all these different things. And you're going to get to a point in your life where you're going to have to accept like who you are and how God made you, right? For a lot of Black women, I know there's a lot of pushback in regards to the church and all these different things, but I think for a lot of Black women, you do find a sense of identity and faith and a sense of belonging and safe haven and faith that you may not find in the world, right? Because the world is ever changing and the world can be kind of harsh towards Black women in terms of beauty. But when you realize that you're playing a losing game, right? You know what I mean? When you realize at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself, right? When you go through all of these cosmetic enhancements, right? You do all these facial enhancements or all these beauty enhancements, right? To feel beautiful and to feel better about yourself. And you land that guy, you get that partner, right? But at the end of the day, they don't want you for you, right? Without all of that, they would not be there, right? They're not seeing you as a person, they're seeing you as an object, right? They're seeing you as a means to conquer, as someone to maybe put on a trophy or, I'm sorry, a pedestal, right? When you come out of that space and you just kind of realize at the end of the day, this is just who you are. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's that confidence that people respond to. And I think when you get to that point in your life and you have that level of grounding, I don't really think it's about being desirable to anybody else. I think as you get older, your confidence becomes something that's more so like rooted in who you are. I think when you're young, your confidence is a little bit more loud, you're a little bit more arrogant. You know what I mean? Like, you're not really sure of yourself, but you're young and you're beautiful. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of the crap talking, right? But like, once you, I think, become a woman and you get older, I think your confidence becomes something that's just like internal. And I think when people call you beautiful, or they speak to you in that way, I think they're really responding to like the grace that you embody and how you carry and how you move, in that sense of like elegance. So I just wanted to come on and encourage someone, because I just think we are at this point, and again, I'm referencing an article that I read this morning, a column that I read this morning on Medium, but I do think that we are at this point now where I just think women are really, like I said it maybe 2021, I'm like, women are becoming more and more competitive, right? But I just think we're at this point now where I just kind of feel like we're getting older, right? The internet is shifting. You got Gen Z, yeah, but like millennials, you know what I mean? Late, like Gen X, like whatever, we're here, we're getting older, it's inevitable, and I always say this too, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I don't think that as women, I don't think that we were supposed to be commercially displayed throughout our entire lives, right? Like that's why you have the supermodels in their early 20s and they're 19 and they're 17, right? Or whatever, right? And as we get older, I do think our lives start being about, more intentionality, motherhood, gardening. I don't mean to be stereotypical. Don't fight me. I know y'all are like, listen, that's not what it is to be a woman. Hey, whatever it looks like for you. But I'm saying that I think as women age and we get older, our lives should actually become more quieter, and that the beauty that we embody is something like wisdom, right? It's our grace, it's our elegance, it's in our nurturing. So I just kind of wanted to come on and share a light on that, because I think for many women who struggle with transitioning into becoming a woman, right, from being a girl to becoming a woman, I think that you are going to have a really hard time with this transition, and you're going to try to hold on to the beauty. You're going to try to preserve the beauty, not realizing that, as women, our lives have phases, right? And that's a very beautiful thing. It's like maturation, right? And then there's menopause, and then there's all these different things, and so, there is a collective grief that I think we carry as Black women, not being seen as desirable, always feeling like there's someone else who is, better looking, and, in our own experiences being left for someone else who may be more, better looking or whatever. But I think at the end of the day, it's like, you only have yourself, so why be at odds with the only person who's in the room with you when it's all said and done, so I just wanted to come over here and encourage somebody today, because I just think you need to know that, and you need to hear that. And I've always felt like people have said I was beautiful. I think they were responding to my personality. I'm not too hard on the eyes, but I also know I'm not the most gorgeous woman in the world, and that's okay though. That's okay. So, okay, bye. Hope you guys have a great day.